paintbrush, power tool, which will prevail? Hello and welcome to this week's video. Yep, I've bought myself some paintbrushes. Up until now I've only really used paintbrushes to do a bit of flicking of paint, maybe some daubing around the edge if I'm going to then spin and fling and spin. Yes, that's all I've used paintbrushes for. Flinging paint, spinning paint. But taking some inspiration from a scene I saw in a dark European murder mystery program of some, I don't know what sort of trees they were, but you'll see the still image, which is my inspiration. I thought that might look interesting around a platter rim, and you know where those thoughts take me. So that's what today's video is going to be about. Hopefully it'll turn out something like the picture I have of it in my mind, but I never know, you never know, and we'll just have to wait and see. So I'm going to start by putting an airbrush background on, a little bit of a gradient to add some interest behind the black that I'm going to be using as the tree silhouettes and twigs and branches. I'm starting off with a brush size number 10. Childlike, quite crude at the moment. And Pete, if you're watching, I'm trying to avoid the temptation to do splattering. But you know I like a good splatter. Lid. At some point you have to make a decision as to whether the vision and the reality match, and I think it's fair to say that with this they certainly don't. Right then, when one's talent is met with the cold bucket of reality, there's only one solution. That looked cool. Power tools! Putting some little holes in with this little burr. Quite like that look. Phew, that took a while. Right, so colour. It could be sanded down a little more, but I'm going to put some colour on before I sand it. I'm going to put a band of black through here, just to be artistic. Because of my failure with the brushes, I can't just put the same colour on everywhere. I've got to salvage a bit of pride. So black through here. And then I want the bottom of the holes, I want them to have a lot of colour in them. I'm going to start off with yellow, and then build up to some red as well in places, so there's some, it's not all one colour. And then I want to go over the top, I'll just sand that back and then go over the top with something darker as a contrast. So there is a plan, even if it's only been thought up after the disaster of our first efforts. our first efforts. Look at me, not taking all the responsibility for my lack of artistic skill. I should have been a politician. Now on with some orange. Going back to my favourite colour combinations, aren't I? Right, well, I am liking it a lot better. I like the idea of a black line running through it, but I'm going to put a few holes in it. Get the mask on quickly. It's very, very sprayy in here. I want to spray different angles so I get all of the sides of the dense fills. I was thinking of putting some blue over this, but I actually really like the brightness of it. I think I might just put a little bit of blue around the edges, almost like there's been a surface on here which has been worn away, destroyed. Almost like that. Exactly like that, in fact. Right, it's a little bit rough, so I'm going to give it a very gentle sand. And that now means I really like the bright yellow. I just go over these bits that have softened off with some yellow. Now I doubt very much there's a lot of detail you can see given all the fumes in the air, so I'm just going to leave that to dry off for a little while. Nearly there. Then I'll finish off the middle so we can see the contrast between the rim and the wood. And here it is, a finished experiment. Again, this won't be surviving, coming off because it's just playing around on the back of a blank. There are some things I don't like about it, there are some things I love about it. And I hope it's given you some ideas for things that you might like to try in your own texturing and colouring. I'll put some close-ups of the rim up so that you can see it in a little more detail. And they're just as the pictures are taken, straight from the camera, no photoshopping or enhancing of colours or anything like that. So I've managed to salvage something. It's given me some ideas of maybe having sort of multi-levels of texture, that I have a texture on the top that then is eroded and seeing what's beneath it. Although that's taking me away probably from just a bit of decoration on a platter rim. My ambitions to be an artist this weekend, well, plenty more practice with brushes needed. Thanks for watching. Thank God for electricity.